Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining today. Amy and I are excited to have the chance to talk with you about some of the new developments that we've been working on together that we think are really nice. So we'll be able to walk through some of these workflows and you'll have a chance to ask any questions that you may have along the way. So let's go ahead and jump right in, and we can start off with some just quick introductions. So I'm Jesse Ransom, and I'm leading the Leganto product team. Amy?
Hi, Amy Copeland, also lead the Rialto team.
And we are, before I dive in, I guess just a little bit about what we're planning to cover. It really is exactly this, the workflows that stretch across the two products, across Leganto and Rialto. The request for this webinar actually came from the community. It came from some of you. And what we heard is that a lot of times these are workflows that might stretch across different teams or different departments within the library. And because of that, it can be really hard to kind of get the full picture of what's happening. So that's really the purpose of the webinar today, is that you'll be able to see the full picture of what's happening. We'll kind of walk through the Leganto side of things, the Rialto side of things, and then I think in all cases, pretty much back to the Leganto side of things. So that's what we'll be covering today. Feel free to ask your questions as you have them. I think it's probably easier to ask them as we're kind of in these different sections. We'll pause at the end of each section and make sure that we've addressed all of your questions. But we do also have time at the Q&A at the end for any additional Q&A that may come up. We do have a few integrations which have been available for a while now, so I'll just very quickly cover those in case you're not familiar with them. And then there's a new option available to see more course materials data in Rialto as of the January release, so we'll go through that one. And then we also have a workflow that's coming in the first half of the year, so coming soon. This is to see newer editions which are available for purchase. And both of these newer ones from this year also have the workflows, so it's kind of the new data that's available as well as the workflows if you were to then purchase one of those resources. So we'll walk through all of that today. Just to start off, I do want to highlight that this is an area that we are, that Amy and I have been really happy to work together on because of the value that we know this brings to our customers. We know that many of you are using Leganto to find out what you need to purchase, and you're purchasing materials for courses. We know that some of you are perhaps even purchasing almost all of your purchasing might be for courses, but we also hear from more and more customers all the time that you're kind of scaling up the amount of resources that you're providing for courses because you know those are things that are going to be used. You know that that's what your instructors are looking for, what your students are going to need. So we're really happy to have these workflows that stretch across these two products to try to make that easier for you. So some of you, probably many of you already know what's on this slide here, but we really see this as kind of a natural tie-in across these two products just because of again, what I was just saying, the need to understand what's being used in courses. So Leganto gives you that information about what's being used in courses, how it's being used. Is it a chapter that's required, or is it a whole book? Is it required? Is it optional? How many students are in those courses? How many courses are using that title? So you have all the data that you need to understand what needs to be purchased. And then within Rialto, you can see all of the different offers that are available. So you can see the price and the licensing options and the different providers of those offers, and you can use that data to make the purchase that best meets whatever the needs are for this course in this case. Amy, anything to add there?
Yeah, I want to mention we've had a lot of changes throughout the year on Rialto's side, and I do want to assure everyone that the market isn't going anywhere. In fact, the market's expanding. So you may have had a chance to review the January release notes for Rialto. So we are integrating with VLE Books. They are the ebook component of Brown's Books that's based out of the UK. We are in the process of testing the integration now, so we're hoping to launch it by the end of the month. VLE Books, if you're not familiar with who they are, they're a very large aggregator. Content, both breadth and quality, very similar to both eBook Central and EBSCO. They're looking to expand globally, which is why they wanted to partner with us, and we are the first opportunity for them to do so. So they do have titles that are available all throughout the world. So their regional restrictions aren't too significant, just like eBook Central and EBSCO. Invoicing would be initially in GBP, but like any other platform that you may be ordering in a different currency, we would handle that conversion for you. But that's coming soon. In fact, I'm scheduling a webinar this evening with a representative from VLE Books for the first week of March. So stay tuned for that. Do hope you'll have a chance to join or catch the recording if not. But we have that. We also have the referral model that's coming later on in the year. So all sorts of ways to still view material within Rialto, potentially in the future, alternate types as well.
Great. And then, a plug for Leganto again, of course, that at the end of this workflow is that once you buy these resources from Rialto, we want to make sure that they get used. And so the nice thing about Leganto is it's putting those resources directly in front of your instructors and your students and, giving them access to the things as soon as you have them available. So, again, we really see this as a great partnership and a great opportunity to meet what we know our libraries are doing. So I'm going to start with just a very, very high level look at some of the integrations, or the two main integrations that have existed, the two main workflow integrations, I should say, that have existed for several years now. And the first one is the ability to search Rialto from a citation. So if you're working on a reading list or working on a specific citation, you can navigate directly to that title in Rialto and see what the different offers are that are available. You can see the information about the course, or whether there's a tag on this, is it being used in other courses, how many students are in the course. You have that information as you're making the purchasing decision. And then after you purchase it, the inventory is added to the Leganto list. So this isn't new, but if it's new to you, there's a video linked in the slide here, so you can take a look at that and see what that looks like. And then the other one that's been around for, I think, even longer is the option to search Rialto from a purchase request. So if you are not purchasing directly from reading lists, but instead you're kind of routing them through an acquisitions purchase request workflow, then from that purchase request is the same thing. So you can navigate from the purchase request to the Rialto marketplace, see all the offers that are available, make the best choice for your needs. And then because it's all linked together, the inventory that you buy is linked to the purchase request, which is linked to the citation. So it updates that information at the end of that flow. So again, there's a video here if this is something that you're interested in. We won't cover these today because they're not new. They've been out for a while, but I didn't want to ignore them because they are part of the options that are available when you're working across Leganto and Rialto. But what we want to spend the most of our time on today is the new stuff. So the first option, or the first thing that we're going to talk about, is the new option, the new data that you'll see in Rialto about materials that are being used in courses. This is available to everybody now as of the January release. So if you log into Rialto, you'll stumble upon this information. And what it looks like is, as you're browsing the Rialto marketplace, you can see the indication that something is being used on a course. So you'd be able to see, that this is maybe used in 6 courses. If you're browsing around, this might be useful in terms of making the right decisions about which of the offers you might want to make, or whether you want to purchase something or not. So you'll have that data available to you. We'll go through this in a lot more detail, and this is also sort of the first glimpse of how this webinar is going to go. So for all of the things that we're going to talk about, Amy and I pulled out some screenshots so you can actually see what it looks like. We'll share the slides with you after the session, so you'll have these slides available and you'll be able to kind of walk through these workflows without having to watch an hour-long webinar. But this is really what we have. So when you're in Rialto, you can see, sorry, I'm trying to get the little WebEx thing to disappear, and I don't know if I can. There it goes. Okay, you can see this new course materials badge on any title that is, I have on the slide here, actively used in courses. We're really looking at current courses and future courses. So you'll see this indication on any title that's being used on a course. And if you hover over it, you'll also see a tooltip with the course information. But if you click through to the next level where you can see all the offers, you'll also see the course details in a separate box. And this is really nice. It shows you if there's multiple courses, you would see all of them stacked up here. I have some examples of that we'll go through today. But this related citation here is also a link. So if you click on that, it will take you to a view of the original course or the original citation. And from here, you can do the same things that you could do pending your permissions. You could click into the full view or to the edit mode. You could make any changes to this if you needed to. You can see all of the details about the tags and any notes that are here. So you really have all of the information that you would need to make the right decision for the purchase.
We had a question come in if you'd like to take that now.
Is the course materials badge present for materials currently courses pre-release? So if the course is running right now, what we're looking at in terms of is it current is the course start date and the course end date. So as long as today's date, we'll get into the technicalities in a minute, so as long as last Saturday's date is within the start date and the end date, it's considered current. So if the course is running right now, it's considered a current course. If the end date of the course is in the past, then we're not pulling that data over into Rialto. And if the start date of the course is in the future, then that would be considered a future course. So you will see that data in Rialto today, depending on what's on your reading list. You might have a lot of it or you might have less of it in Rialto, but yes, this badge is now available in Rialto. We also have now 2 new options in the query builder, so you can specifically search for course materials in Rialto. So we added 2 new parameters. The reading list tags, so this would be whatever you have configured for your tags. It includes all of the tag options, the public ones, the internal ones, the library, instructor ones, and so on. So you have all of that information that might be relevant for your workflows. And we also have those course dates. So again, the options for the course dates are current and future. So you can see if you wanted to scope just to future courses, for example, you could see that. And what's really nice about this query builder, what I'm really excited about myself, is that it ties, you can use it alongside all of the other really powerful things that Rialto already has available. So I was excited when Amy taught me about these things, but there's options to do things like search for things that are not already in your collection, or search for things where there's, you want to find the newest edition. So you can get some really powerful information kind of aligned with or alongside the course details.
Yep. And the nice thing about having it in the query builder as well, you can use it for advanced searches. You can also use it for profiling. So if you have any sort of automatic selection, be it title alerts or feeds, I'm sure you probably wouldn't want to use it in a faculty title alert, but that'd be a possibility, or for automatic purchasing. So if you know that you always buy the books that are on part of course material or requested as course material, you can set that up within a selection plan, select your ranking to favor print or electronic, and let it run.
You'll also see this new information as a faceting option. So if you're not specifically searching for course materials, maybe you're searching for something else and you want to see the course the course information. You also have the current and future courses as a facet, as well as all of the different tags as a facet. So this is a nice way to kind of narrow down what you're looking at according to the course information. There are some boundaries around the data. So what we sent, the way that this works is that the Leganto team is sending data to Rialto about what is being used on your courses. So we are specifically sending all book citations with ISBNs. So if you have a book that doesn't have an ISBN, it's going to be sent. It doesn't matter if you already have inventory or not. Again, Rialto has options for searching based on your current inventory, but we're just sending everything. So you'll see all those book citations for current and future courses only according to the course dates. And we send the information once a week. It is quite a big data feed, so we're sending it once a week, and it happens on Saturdays. So if you need to know, when is this going to appear, Saturday we send the data, and Rialto runs an indexing process on the data immediately after they receive it from us. And that's the data. So there is also then the workflows that, it's one thing to be able to see the information, but of course the point is that you can also purchase the things. So the next part of this is going to be going through these workflows. I think there's 3 different scenarios, so bear with us as we talk through all of the different options, but we really wanted to kind of show you what would happen in lots of different situations. So the first workflow here, I realized later, we kind of talked through this in the first session here, and I realized this example here is used on multiple courses, but actually it would be the same if it was only used on one course. But in this case, the data that we're looking at from Leganto is that we have this title, and it's being used, the same ISBN is being used on 3 different courses. And I went ahead and dug in a little bit more, and in this case, 2 of those courses are active, and 1 of the courses is in the past. This one here is a 2022. So we have 2 active courses using this book. And what that looks like in Rialto is exactly that. There are 2 courses that are using this book. It has the course materials badge on it, and then we have the details about those 2 courses. So that's the data. But if we go into the next steps, you'll see here that there's an option to link and add to cart. So that linking indication, when it says link, is linking it back up to the reading lists. So we're linking this new inventory that we're buying to all of that course information or that reading list information. And when you do that, if we go through, let's say we hypothetically purchased this title, what happens back on the citation is that the citations themselves will update with this new information. So there's 2 pieces that you'll see, the inventory. So in this case, we have the physical book that we purchased, which you can see on the first one here. And then I just kind of opened it up so you could see them both, but there's also going to be an alert, and the alert says Rialto order placed. So both of these citations, because again, 2 of them were for current courses, both of them have that new alert and they have that new inventory. So what if you don't want to do that? If you want to buy something and not link it to the course, this is fine as well. If you click on the little menu here, you get an add to cart option. So you don't have to do the link and add to cart. You can always just add to cart, and in this case, it's the same as if you had purchased it in November before we had this new data available. So it would just be a purchase. It wouldn't be associated with the reading list, and it wouldn't change the reading lists in any way. So that is kind of the basic workflow that we built. There are some details depending on different situations. In this case, we had this used in 2 courses, so it updated 2 courses. If it was used in 1 course, it would just be 1. But you might also have the situation where you have different editions that are used in courses. And we know from talking to you that sometimes we have, for Leganto specifically, we have some customers where they always want to use the new edition, and the instructors don't have a choice about, choosing the new one or the old one. If you buy the new one, they're using the new one. And then we have other schools where they would be horrified to hear that that's what they had to do. And it's always up to the instructor whether they want to use a new edition or an older edition. And sometimes they choose the older edition on purpose for various reasons. So this is up to you what you want to have happen in this situation. There is a parameter that controls what will happen when you have alternative formats or alternative editions. And I used this language, or maybe I took it from the release notes, of alternate but equivalent ISBNs. So the ISBN is not an exact match, but it is the same title, which is what we saw on, I don't know if I went through it. This example that I'm using here, we have, it's actually two different editions. So the first two here use an electronic book that we already have. It has an ISBN that starts with 11, and then there's a third one here, and this one has an ISBN that starts with 978, and there is no inventory for it. So we're looking at 3 citations with 2 different editions, but they're the same title. So you can set it so that, with this parameter, you can set it so that when you purchase an alternate but equivalent ISBN, they're all going to be updated. You're essentially relinking all of those citations to the new one that you just purchased. If you don't want to do that, then you set it to false, which is the default behavior. And in this case, it requires that there's an exact match on the ISBN before the citation will be considered, that this title is fulfilling that citation. And in that case, only the matching ISBN will be updated. So we'll walk through what this looks like. And so in this case, we are starting with this alternate edition parameter set to false. So taking an example here, this is the one we just looked at. There's 2 different editions that are being used on 3 different courses. And when we look at the data in Rialto, you can see that we have the course materials badge on this ISBN starting with 978. It's the same ISBN on all of them, but we also have some additional offers or additional ISBNs that are available here that we could have purchased. They don't have the course materials badge, and in this case I can still buy them, but I can't link them to the course. So the link and add to cart information is only available on the ones that have a matching ISBN. So if we were to go and purchase one of these offers with a matching ISBN, we get the purchase request notice, and then, or the purchase, what does it say, purchase complete notice? Item purchased. Order was placed. Okay, so once we place the order back on the reading list, only the one that matched is the one that was updated. So my 2 that started, I don't know if you can even see this, but I had the 2 that I already had. Those haven't changed. They're still what they already were. They linked to the inventory they were already linked to, but the one that was an exact match on the ISBN, this one now has my new electronic inventory, and it also has my new alert on it. So that's if we are only doing a match on exactly the same ISBN. If you set the parameter to true, now we'll walk through what happens in that situation. So I have a different example here, and digging into the details here, this is actually 3 different editions used on 4 different reading lists. So I have one physical copy, or I have one edition in which we have a physical copy, and it's used in one course. I also have a different one that's an electronic copy, and it's being used in 2 courses, or 2 courses. And then we have a third one. I pulled this in from Amazon using the Cite It tool. So this is a newer edition. This is a 2019, and the other ones are 2014. So another instructor, hypothetically, is now using a newer edition in their course. They all have different ISBNs, though. So because we have our parameter set to true in this case, that we do want to consider alternate editions, now we have the link and add to cart on all of the offers for that title. So the course materials badge is not on all of them, but we do have the option to link any of these to my courses. So if we were to decide we actually don't want to buy the one that maybe any of the instructors are using, we're picking which one is the best one for our collection, and that's the one we're going to use, then you can there click on the link and add to cart option for whichever one is the appropriate one for you. And then what will happen after you purchase it, after you place the order, is back on the citations, all 4 of the citations updated. So all 4 of them now have the alert, and all 4 of them are now linked to the MMS ID for the one that we just purchased, and they all have my new inventory. So because we're saying, you know, consider all of these different ISBNs as equal, we want to look at all of the different ISBNs or all of the different versions of this title, it's updating all of the citations that are using that same title.
And just to add an additional flavor here, it is limited specifically to that work that all of the badges appear within. So if you were to search for, sometimes we have different works that are split out that we need to massage the data to marry them into one. But wherever that badge appears, that is work that we would expand to allow for the different format, different edition, different platform for the
There's a smiley face question here about how many copies I bought. I probably should have bought more copies. I bought 1 print copy, so my students are going to have to take turns. I bought a lot of print copies as I was going through this because I felt like it was easier to see that the inventory changed when I used print. So I bought a lot of print copies in our hypothetical situations here. Okay, so this is the workflow. Everything that we covered in this chunk is now available. So this was available as of January. So again, you'll start to see that data in the system. You'll see this new link and add to cart option, and now you'll understand what it means and what it does. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, so here's one. Is the metadata updated for book chapter citations as well, or just book citations? This actually came up on the first call, and Amy and I need to dig into the details a little bit more on chapters and books. So what we're going to do is, after the session, we'll share the recording and we'll share the slides, and we'll also share the answers to that question. So we'll dig into the details a little bit more. And there was another question that came up this morning as well that we need to follow up on. So we'll have a little bit of Q&A in the email that we send out after. So we'll confirm for you. Okay, so switching gears now. Maybe I'll give it just a second in case any more questions on this workflow. It's not your last chance. You'll get another chance, but just in case someone's typing. So switching gears, we also have another integration that we're working on right now. So we're actively building this out. It is the ability to see a newer edition available for purchase. I personally am very excited because Rialto has this information, and those of you who have been using Leganto for a while might remember perhaps several years worth of what was at the time NAIRS requests or curve requests related to this exact thing, being able to see that a new edition was available. And at the time, we didn't have that data available to us. And now we do because Rialto has that data. So this is something that we're working on right now. And I'll walk through, I think this will be available in the first half of the year. That's my guess, based on kind of how we're developing it right now. But we'll walk through what we're working on and how we anticipate this workflow is going to work. So it is the ability for instructors or library staff in Leganto to be able to see that a new edition is available for purchase. Not necessarily that the library has it, but that it's something the library might consider buying. So from a citation, they'd be able to see that there are new editions available. They'd be able to recommend that the library purchase it. Within Rialto, you'll see this recommendation, and you'll also be able to see the course details that this is being requested for a course. And then after you buy it, it would come back to the instructor as a replacement suggestion. So we'll go through all of these in a excruciating detail so you can see more about what it looks like. But from the reading list, on the citation menu, there'll be a new option to check for new additions. So you'll see this new option on the menu, and it will open up the full view of the item, and we're putting them on the Related Items tab. So it will navigate you directly to this page if there is a new edition available for purchase. What we're looking at here is the 2025 edition, and then our original citation was for the 2024 edition. If you had started here, you also can just start by looking at the full view. You don't have to, specifically check for new additions. It will show up in the Related Items tab anyway. So your instructors and you in the library would be able to see that there is something new available for purchase, and then be able to request that purchase. And then you just get a confirmation screen that you want to ask the library to purchase the item. If you do that, the citation that you started from updates. So there would be a new tag that a new edition had been requested. And then there's also some status updates similar to copyright or digitization. In Leganto today, there's some status updates about where this is in the process. The library is working on it. So you'd be able to see that, or the instructor would be able to see that information. If you click on that button, check for new additions, check for new additions, or I forget exactly what it says, but if there isn't anything, it just says so. If there isn't anything new available for purchase, you just get a message that there's nothing available. But if you have found something and you submitted that request, it comes into the faculty recommended title list. And Amy, you're going to have to talk about this one.
Sure. So if you're not familiar with what the faculty recommended title list is, it only appears presently when you have a title alert set up, and this is a flavor of automatic selection. And that title alert output is sent to a faculty member. So if you're not familiar with what that is, a title alert is a query that you, the librarian, would set up using the query builder. So whatever criteria it is that you want to include, be it course material, the new elements in the query builder, classification, whatever it is that you want to include. You pair that with a ranking. If you have platforms that you prefer, or you prefer E over P, whatever it is, sales usage that you want to include for the ranking, that outputs a list. You can set up the frequency for the list to be it weekly, biweekly, or monthly. That list can go just to you, and on initial setup, it does go just to you, but you can add other staff members that you'd want to share it with, as well as faculty. When you do add a faculty, since they're all within Alma, available as patrons, when you search for their name, search for the email, and you add them as a list recipient, that faculty member gets the same email that you would receive to access the list in Alma. And you might say, no, that's terrifying. It's not. The version of Alma that they get is stripped down. There's absolutely nothing that they can do within Alma except for access this list. And they can do so through the same notification icon. This is the only thing that'd be present within the notifications, is the ability to navigate to the historical output of the list. Once they're there, they all they do is they accept. And so there is no reject. It's just, I want this one. And that pushes it to your view of their selections from that list, the faculty recommended title list. So if you do use those, you would have this list appear, or use the faculty title alerts, you would have a view of this list. If you don't, this would probably be your first time seeing it when something is pushed to this list. So we do include the course information as facets. You'll see the requester there, whomever it was that sent this over would appear as the requester. We will have a bespoke facet for these purchase requests that are pushed into Rialto from this workflow as well.
Thanks. So you would start with these requests and be able to work through them and decide if these are things that you want to purchase or not. And as you're making that decision, you can choose the most appropriate offer. So if the request is for print and you actually want to buy electronic, I only buy print apparently at my fake library, so I'm buying print, of course, but you can choose whichever one is actually right. You can see that this text here says replace title. So I'm buying what I want to buy within, what my faculty member has requested or what my instructor has requested. And then once you do purchase something that started from this type of request, we're tying back into the new edition available workflow that already exists in Leganto. So this is the new edition workflow that was, I'm going to say this probably for the next several years, but originally a NARS request. Now we would call this a curve request. There's a workflow for suggesting that faculty update to a newer edition. So we're tying into that workflow. So after you purchase this title, they get an alert. There's a new edition available for purchase. They can go and see it, and it comes in as a suggestion for a replacement suggestion. And from here, they can see the original item. They can decline this request. Maybe they actually wanted you to buy it for next term or something like that. They can decline it here. They can replace the original item, so replace the older edition with the newer edition on their reading list, or they can add it to the list as an additional item. So they would have the original edition and the new edition. So this is something, again, we've been asked about it for many, many years. We're very excited to be able to finally be able to do it. We are building it out right now, and we're actually looking for a couple development partners to kind of walk through the workflow with us and make sure that we're on the right track and this is all working as expected. So if you're excited about this, if you're interested in working with us on this, we would love to hear from you. So please feel free to reach out if you're interested in hearing more, if you'd be interested in working with us on this, or if you just want to know what that even means. I'm happy to tell you that as well if you're interested. So please feel free to reach out. And I think that brings us to the end, actually. So we do have quite a lot of time for questions. I haven't seen any more coming in that we haven't covered so far, but probably if I stop talking for a minute or two, they would start to come in. I can't do that. Those of you who know me know that that's actually impossible. So I'll just ramble on for just a minute here. Maybe while you're typing your question, I'll just stress one more time, and I know Amy will stress the same thing, that we are really invested in these workflows and the partnership across these two products. Again, it's something that we really believe makes a lot of sense for how these products are used and the work that you are trying to do within your library. We'd love to hear from you about any of these workflows. If there's something that you like, if there's something that you don't like, if there's some reason that you can't use it, we can't use it because XYZ, feel free to let us know that as well, because we do want to hear from you. We do want to build things that work for you and that support your workflows. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
It's true. Feedback really is a gift.
There is a question here. Will this workflow work with the new referral model?
Yes, it would. So the referral model, if you haven't attended any of our webinars in the past, you're unfamiliar with what it is. Referral model will initially be launched with print, so it'll be print only for some time. And what it is, it's the name is it's a misnomer anymore. It began as a means to have the print in the marketplace, and you would have a deep link out to that third-party vendor to purchase the content directly through them on their own website. But we backpedaled from that, kept the name, backpedaled from that, and decided to utilize Alma's EDI ordering functionality that exists already. Every vendor under the sun just about allows for EDI ordering. I forget what EDI stands for. It's electronic data.
I bet somebody on this call knows.
Exchange. A quick Google, and you get the response. It's electronic data, I think, interface. But it's been around for some time. It's the first electronic ordering. Alma's has an EDI ordering setup. It's been around since Alma practically began. So why not utilize what's there and not reinvent the wheel? So you'll still see the orders within the marketplace. Your workflow won't change at all. So we're not going to take you to some other vendor's website. You stay in the marketplace. We have all the metadata there, so the offers come to us in the same. Stopping myself there too. We won't come into the same way because we're totally refactoring the way we're doing all of that. But we'll be receiving the data feed from the provider. So we'll be exposing it the same way that we expose everything else within the marketplace. You'll have a fast error icon for anything that is available as referral model. It's reliant on you setting up that vendor as an EDI. So this will be self-service. So it is reliant on you setting up those those vendor EDI configuration pages. So there's a specific page for the vendor, then there's another one for setting up the FTP. We just recently revamped a page within Rialto. We're calling it provider configuration, and that's where you would elect to turn that vendor on for referral ordering. We would then do a check to make sure that that vendor is set up and that the FTP is valid. That would enable you to turn that vendor on within Rialto. You'll be able to see the content beforehand, though, just like we do with any other platform that you're not subscribed to. Yeah, you see the offers in the market. You can add them to a list. You can add them to a cart. You can include them in automatic selection. The key difference with referral is whom is handling that transaction. Historically with Rialto, it's us. We're generating the invoice. We're packaging everything up nicely for you. In this case, that invoice would come from the vendor. So you place the order for the print book. From that moment on that the order is submitted to the vendor, Rialto's out as a middleman. So that if there is any order with the vendor, excuse me, any issue with the order, you would be contacting the vendor directly instead of contacting us. We're working with each of the vendors that we intend to work with on this. So we have Browns coming up first, and then there are others, can't name names because nothing's been signed just yet, but we are working with the other print vendors as well globally. Lost my train of thought. Sorry.
I'll summarize for you. So yes, this new workflow will work. You'll purchase the book in whatever way you would purchase it, but it's all tied together with these workflows.
Thank you. I also have I can't stop talking about things that I am interested in. Issue.
Amy, there's another one that's for you here.
Okay, is there a schedule for your work with print vendors that we can prepare for the June cutoff? So we will have rounds in place by June. So they will definitely be there. The others we are working as quickly as possible to get in place before June as well. If there is any issue with us not being able to get those in before June, we will certainly let you know. So stay tuned to the webinars, release notes for these things to be coming out.
All right, perfect. Oh, there's one more.
We're not sure ordering print books from UK Browns is not practical. Again, can't name names of the print vendors that we were looking at in your region. However, we are in contact with one now. So the idea is to have global print vendors available, like we have now as well. Another difference with this too, presently with Rialto, I'm sorry, choose my words. You are only allowed to see the content for a single print vendor. So you're based in Australia, you are locked to that warehouse. This is typically an advantage, right? Because you don't want to inadvertently pay additional for any shipping costs for something that would be coming from half a world away. But with a referral model, we will allow for you to see, if you elect to see it, you can elect to hide it as well. But for your users to see all of what is available from the global vendors. So we'll have the print supplier name there within the offer details. You can filter a facet by the print supplier. And on the configuration page, you can elect to show hide the content for those different suppliers as well. So understandably, you wouldn't want to order necessarily from Browns, but it would be an option if you would want to.
All right, great. I'm not seeing anything else coming through. It's certainly not the last time you will ever have the option to ask Amy or I questions, though. So you can reach out to us directly if there's things that we didn't cover today, or like we said, if you start to use this and you have some feedback. So with that, I'll go ahead and we'll just wrap it up and just say thank you. Thank you so much to all of you for coming and for joining and for your questions and your engagement, and also for the partnership that you've had with us, as we develop new functionality for you, and as you tell us what you're looking for and what you need. We really do appreciate that partnership with all of you. So thank you for that.
Thank you.